But yeah, over to you, Peter.
Yes. Okay. I really was very fascinated by the previous discussion or presentation, I should say, because you had so many flowers and so many people involved um, compared to possibly where we're at the present moment. So yeah, I mean, we're covering the whole of the district of East Cambridgeshire, which is obviously going to consist of quite a large number of parishes, city council, and a number of other town councils as well. Um, I was just thinking, well, a few days ago, just when did I actually start to get involved? I'm one of the organisers of East Cambridgeshire Climate Action Network, but I didn't actually start it off myself. In fact, it was started off with if I this is a website, by the way, which I'm showing everybody, and I'm just going to reduce the number of people that I can see. But in fact, you're very welcome to actually go to it and look at it and get more details about the various things which we are involved with. But if I click on this, it will give you a better idea of how it was set up. It was set up in 2020. I wasn't the first one to be involved with it, so I'm a bit vague as to what it was. But in fact, it was really started off by somebody called Susan there, who unfortunately, after about 12 months, went to her native country back into New Zealand for a couple of years because her mother wasn't well. She's actually now returned, but I spoke to her a few weeks ago. Unfortunately, she's planning to go and live permanently in New Zealand now. So she was, in fact, very much the kind of pioneer to get the group growing. Currently, Jethro is the chair of the group, and there's various other people who've been involved at various times. Although some of them are not actively involved with the group at the present moment. We were aiming to be a hub rather than a single issue kind of group. So we've obviously got organisations like the Ely Cycle Campaign, and we've also had Eco Ely, which was established with a fantastic opening meeting a few years ago with a very charismatic person who led it, and actually did achieve something like 3,900 people on Facebook for the whole of the kind of Ely area. Unfortunately, it was, and this is a classic example that when a leader actually kind of was leading it, she is no longer involved with it, and it is not flourish. Eco Ely is not flourishing as well as it used to be doing in that respect. And in many respects, I'm going to tell you some of the kind of issues that we've got as a group, and some of the successes that which we have as a group. And one of the issues we have currently is we seem to have quite a large through flow of people who have been involved with the group and then stay for a short while, and then they have left because they have their other commitments or other priorities and things. So we actually have quite a lot of difficulty kind of keeping people together and getting a really core group of people who are keen and enthusiastic. Maybe it's because we're not such a small community like a parish. And I think that it looks to be the success of Swavesey, for example, there. So that's one thing to kind of consider, I think. Um, we've 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 got a number of projects. We have partially had a fairly close relationship with the district council, and in fact, this website was initially funded. They contributed £4,000 for setting up the website. We actually did get a commercial company to do it. Unfortunately, when they passed it over to us after they completed what they thought was to be their contract, they didn't leave it in a position where we could easily manage it, which is despite the fact that we had actually asked for that to happen. So that was another kind of issue which we've actually had, which hopefully if you do set up a website, you actually get total full control over it and not get conned into being encouraged to have to pay for what are called plugins into the website, which actually kind of created quite a lot of issues. And I had to take over the website in April this year and try to kind of get it going in a state where it could be better managed. Although I wasn't involved with the website in the early days in that respect. In terms of projects which we've been doing, one of the kind of most successful project has actually been the repair cafes, which we have on a monthly basis. I guess they were probably, again, I wasn't directly involved in the beginning of the repair cafes, but in fact, they have been, I think originally they were probably planned to be a bit more like what I think are called climate cafes, where people who maybe have concerns about climate change, whatever, can come along and talk and discuss things in a rather more informal way. They have tended to move on a little bit from just having that type of focus to mainly have a focus on a particular topic. For example, the the last repair cafe we had looked at the importance of wetlands, and we got people from who do we get it from? I've forgotten that. Yeah, we got people from the who'd been involved with the Wildlife Trust involved with it, and also there's another project which covers which is a separate project which is being run by Cambridgeshire Acre, which is called the Old Life and the Old West project, which covers the roughly the south western part of East Cambridgeshire, as well as going into Huntingdonshire as well. We got people talking about that and had a various discussions. So the format for these events tends to be maybe half an hour, 40 minutes of a couple of people talking about on a particular topic, and then we end up as a small informal discussion group. And as you can see from some of the pictures from the last events, we were actually in a cafe, Prosper Cafe, and it enables us to kind of split into smaller groups and discuss various things, which came out from the initial speakers at the events in that respect. So what I also try to do as far as the website is concerned, because in terms of the Earth Cafes, I try to kind of add value to that, those events. They're more of a, I see them as more as a stimulus for moving on to other things. So I make a point on, because I also manage the website, of adding other things which may be of interest to people related to the topic which we've covered in that respect on that way. One of the Earth Cafe events was focused around encouraging the development of repair cafes. Now, we've been lucky that previously not involved in East Cambs kind of Action Network at all, but there have been repair cafes going on in Burwell and so on for a while. And there's a new one being recently established in Haddenham. But the whole purpose of this particular Earth Cafe was to actually encourage repair cafe champions. And and also this website is obviously a kind of a focal point for the various repair cafes that are operating, whether independently or in conjunction with the East Cambs CAN there. And the spin-off of that is that we're on the 27th of January. There will be a new repair cafe at the Ely Library, covering the Ely area. Incidentally, the libraries, and that's the libraries across the whole of Cambridgeshire, are very keen to get actively involved in kind of climate change activities there. And the Ely Library is established in itself as a bit like a kind of a green hub for various activities, whether that's for providing resources in the form of books, or whether it's providing resources in the form of various displays which are available. So do go along to your local library and ask them about that, because that is a Cambridgeshire-wide initiative that the libraries are very keen to get involved in that respect. In terms of other activities, one of the activities which we are developing is the community energy projects. And again, there's information here. We ran an event, or I organised the event in June earlier this year, and the whole idea is to try to encourage local communities within the district to set up some form of community energy activity. And the key thing is it's be initiated by local people and wanted by the community. Now, that could be a whole variety of different things. For example, it could just be a group of people getting together and sharing their experiences of the bills which they had, electricity and gas bills, and how they can reduce those costs. Or it could be a group of people getting together to share ideas about how they've managed to kind of retrofit their own properties in that way. Or it could be on a much larger scale, like which happened in Reach, one of the villages in East Cambridgeshire, and has actually also happened in Gamlingay, probably about 12 years ago now. Reach has set up its own solar PV farm, and Gamlingay I'm sure you probably know about the Gamlingay, but they actually set up a wind turbine and also an eco community hall type of thing there. And the whole purpose of this event was to encourage that. We haven't developed it so far. In fact, there's supposed to be something like £10 million going to be made available by national government. They were supposed to have launched it at the end of November, but I understand it's been delayed until January. And there is money for projects which actually could be focusing around community energy, where you can apply for that, and you would apply through what's known as the Southeast Net Zero Hub, which is the agency that manages that on behalf of the national government. And it's £2 million for the Southeast and East Anglia in that respect. Other projects, moving on quickly, which I'm hoping with Alice to develop some form of net zero training, probably similar to what you've just been involved in, and trying to establish a business green group to involve local businesses. And I've already had some discussions with the local Chamber of Commerce and the local representative of the Confederation of the Federation of Small Businesses as well there. But that's still very much kind of in development, not way. But I do see the kind of website as very much a kind of focal point, and it's a great place to have resources and hold resources, not just available in East Cambridgeshire, but from anybody who wants to have a look at the website there. I'm just currently on the Business Green kind of initiative, pulling together various kind of tools, I could say, which actually could be used by local businesses, small businesses. because one of the there was a survey that was carried out a few months ago by the Confederation of Small Businesses, or Federation of Small Businesses, sorry, and they discovered that very few small businesses really understood what was meant by climate change in that way. So there certainly is an opportunity to get small businesses involved um, in your local area that way. Um, I think I'm probably running out of time, so I'm not going to say any more. We obviously we live in the fens, so in this case, I'm more been bringing together resources relating to the fens and the importance of the fens and the importance of the restoration of peat in holding back the carbon within there, which is very important. Fortunately, there's millions of pounds of projects taking place, not only in East Cambridgeshire, but in Fenland area and running into Huntingdonshire as well in particular. But they're all, some of them are there anyway, so if you want to have a look at those.